And hi there, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wentz. It is not, don't be fooled. I know it's one of those weeks where we're back into routine again, and it's like, what day of the week is it? It's not Sunday. I promise you that. This is a special Thursday evening edition of Region Weather Live. I do want to touch on the storm. I think we're close enough to it now next week that we're getting a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. We talked about it in a post last night, just about the buzz on social media around this. And it is going to be a big storm system, but in terms of how it impacts us here in the region, still kind of up in the air. And there is a pun intended with that, the atmosphere. I assume you guys get that. But anyway, good to be with you here this evening. I'm going to jump into the maps. First and foremost, we're going to start doing these just a little bit earlier, probably around this time on Sunday evenings. And then really over the next couple nights, I want to keep you guys updated on this. But I have now shifted to the morning shift, which starts really early in the morning. So my bedtime is right now. I'm still getting used to it. I've done evenings my whole career. It's a big change, but anyway, there's that. So I got to get these in a little bit earlier. We can't go too late on these. So someone's got to get to bed. So there's that. As always, want to thank our sponsors. They're getting a bonus broadcast here tonight. Tiger Plumbing, tigerplumbing.net is the place to go if you guys need a plumber. PSA, that's our public service adjusters of Northwest Indiana. We've talked about them. They're amazing, guys. If you have an insurance claim of any need, please use them. 5-star reviews across the board. Publicserviceadjusting.com. We've got our nonprofit stjudehouse.org, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and our Ewing Mechanical Services. It's ewingmech.com for anything you need HVAC, humidifier in the house, whatever it happens to be. They've got some great specials ongoing right now. So let's jump into the maps. First of all, I want to say hi to our early birds here. We've got Mary's with us. Hi, Mary. Hope you're doing well. Jeff, good evening to you. Susan, Mark, it makes sense when you say morning, sir, because I'm getting up here shortly. Don Z, good evening to you. Everything is well. I hope everything's well with you. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. Linda's with us. It has been a while, I think before the holidays. Yeah, because we had a lot of Sunday shows that fell on Christmas Eve, and then we had one New Year's Eve too. So I wanted to leave you guys alone on those. We covered it with a post, I hope. Reedmo's with us on our YouTube channel. Good evening to you. Hi, Gail. Hi, Maxwell. Amanda's with us, and Rachel says, this is the comment of the day. Hope we get a ton of snow. What's up, JD? Thanks for joining us here this Thursday evening. Elijah's with us too. All right. that's right. That's good. Good comment, Elijah. All right. So here we go. We've got two systems that we're going to talk about. All right. And I'd be happy to answer your questions at the end of this. But if you've been with Region Weather enough, if you've been with me long enough, you know that I don't like to overhype things. Okay. If it's not a big deal, it's not going to be a big deal. Okay. We don't have in your face monster trucks, explosions, huge storm system, blizzard on the way. That's just not us. Okay. So I'm going to keep it real. I'll give you the models. I'll kind of let you know what the forecast guidance is on that. And we'll keep you updated in terms of what we know and what we don't know. So two things to talk about. We've got some snow on the way this weekend. Saturday is going to be kind of a snowy day. That's the first system I'm going to show you is kind of what this looks like as it comes in. And then we've got the one that everyone's talking about is next Tuesday and Wednesday, actually late Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right. That one is going to be a big storm system. It's going to encompass the whole entire eastern half of the country. Some of the low pressure values coming out of this in terms of how low that pressure gets are near record setting. And it looks to be a big storm. All right. Just because it's a big low pressure, though, doesn't mean it's going to be a blizzard for us or a huge rainstorm with tornadoes, stuff like that. Okay. You can get big storms that, are kind of ho-hum. But the big deal with next week's storm that we know right now is that it's going to be a wind maker. We're going to have a ton of wind with it. Anytime you get a deep area low pressure, that's what you're dealing with. So here we go. So let's dive into it here. I want to talk weekend snow first. So this is kind of where we're going with this. We're quiet tonight. All right. Nothing to worry about. Quiet tomorrow as well. Nothing to worry about. And then as we get into tomorrow night, clouds are really going to thicken up. What we're watching, there's going to be an area of low pressure along actually the Gulf Coast. So this is kind of a secondary low that's in areas of the Arctic. But as you get down towards New Orleans, there's going to be another low pressure that develops. That's the one that heads up the eastern seaboard and really steals the show. But this one still has a little punch to it. You can see this low pressure down towards Mississippi as it gets going, as it's making that track from New Orleans and Mississippi, eventually Tennessee Valley, then out towards the east. There's moisture on the northern end of it. And so all indication is late tomorrow night, it may get in here if you have late plans tomorrow, but I really think this is going to be probably midnight into Saturday morning. We're going to bring in some snow showers. All right. This is the HRRR model. The HRRR model is a little bit more robust in terms of the snow with this. This brings some light to moderate snow in here. And you can see kind of how that evolves. We're on the northern end of this. And this is your Saturday morning waking up right here. Still some leftover snow around. And then as we go throughout the day, we're still dealing with snow. So kind of a snowy Saturday, says the HRRR. And in terms of amounts, the HRRR is painting anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snow across the region. But not so fast, as Lee Corso says on ESPN. We have to look at all the models, right? And the NamNest has been notorious for keeping the bulk of this, and the Euro kind of agrees with us. The bulk of the snow of this initial wave does not develop like the HRRR does, and the Euro is the same way, where this northern periphery of the system really isn't quite as robust. We're still going to get some snow out of it, but it doesn't look like a prolonged steady snow. It looks kind of broken on Saturday, where we get some snow and then it kind of stops a little bit. We might get a little bit more, but not a big deal on Saturday, says the NamNest. And then you can see as we go through time, we're still dealing with the secondary area of energy that kind of swings in here Saturday night and Sunday. So we'll keep the snow showers going on and off pretty much all weekend. All right, that's how it's going to go. And I agree with the NamNest on the weekend system. Reason why. What typically happens, especially with a low pressure, this first low that's heading through, Mississippi, eventually into the Tennessee Valley up the East Coast. All right, with that low, there's probably going to be severe weather on the southern end, and that severe weather will have a line, probably a squall line of storms that moves through Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, over to Georgia. Okay. And whenever we have that, it tends to steal all the energy from the Gulf of Mexico, where it can't all make it up here. So I'm hesitant. I agree with this model in that this snow isn't quite as robust on the northern end of it because of all that action down in the Gulf Coast, all right, and in the deep south. So because of that, I don't think we get quite as much energy or moisture transport from the Gulf of Mexico up here as the HRRR is thinking, all right? That's just some model analysis. Most of you probably don't need that, but I just want you to know that I do side with this model in the fact that we don't see a ton of snow around here on Saturday, all right? Just going to be kind of on and off, like I mentioned. Could we see an inch or two? We could. Temperatures are going to be kind of marginal. They should be above freezing, probably mid-30s on Saturday. So this is going to be a wet snow. A lot of it's not going to cause problems on roadways. Grassy, elevated surfaces, sure, we'll get some stickage. But overall, it's not going to be a big deal this weekend, all right? So if you have plans, if you're traveling around Northwest Indiana, if you're traveling, into Southern Indiana, might be a little bit heavier down there. But overall, this isn't going to be too disruptive this weekend. So go ahead and make those plans. Okay. All right. Let's fast forward to next week. So I pick it up here. This is the Euro run from 12Z today. I can show you the 18Z. But for those of you that haven't been with me in terms of model runs, all right, we get 4 model runs per day out of the major models. All right. The major models that most meteorologists look at, we've got the American model, which is GFS. We've got the Euro, which I tend to side Euro. I always have, right? But we take a blend of them all. We look at the GEM too, which is a Canadian model. I always make fun of it, but it is a source. It's kind of NAM based as well. And then there's high res models, which are more short term, and those high res models don't get into the system quite yet because it's next week. Okay. But in terms of the model runs, we get four major runs per day. The best one that comes out is early afternoon. All right. Our time. And the reason why is because it takes all the information that's ongoing across really the globe right now, the stuff that's actually happening. It takes all that information and puts it into the model and says, this is what's happening. Here's what we think is going to happen with that, right? The 18Z, which is the one that it's actually the latest model that came out this evening, that takes a lot of information from the 12Z, which was the fresh data, right? And it says, okay, based on what it thinks is going to happen here, here's what we think is going to happen. So if the initial 12Z is wrong on anything, the 18Z is going to be wrong on it as well. And then you have the 0Z and the 6Z as we go throughout the morning hours, and those get progressively less accurate typically, all right? That's not always the case, but in terms of the way I forecast, the 12Z is the one to go, all right? So every early afternoon is when we get a new run of this. So this is the 12Z. So here's the system that we have going by this weekend. Just a national note real quick. This one is going to cause problems out in areas of New England, all right? And what you tend to get, this is going to be a nor'easter for them. What you tend to get, you have a really warm Gulf Stream, right? So you've got warm ocean water flowing up to areas as far north as Boston, just off of Cape Cod. That warm ocean water in combination with cold air coming in can develop really deep low pressure systems, much like any low would develop in the plain states when you have cold air with warm air, right? So that's going to deepen the low. They'll have a nor'easter this weekend with strong winds. Boston's probably going to get some real good snow from this. New York City's like right on the line. But if you have travel plans or friends and family out east, Eastern Seaboard, I-95 corridor, JFK, LaGuardia, Logan, whatever it happens to be, there are going to be delays. That's going to be a pretty big deal for them. And you'll hear about that nationally because they haven't had snow in a lot of those spots, a real good snow in years. It's been like 3 years for a lot of them. So there's that. The system heads by us, so you can see not a big deal on Sunday. All right, here's our next low. Coming through California over the weekend. As soon as we say goodbye to some of the snow showers on Sunday, we're saying hello to this system. It's right on the heels of the Sunday system, all right? And this kickstarts what I've been talking about for quite a while now, is that we are going to have a very active pattern mid and late January, all right? We're getting into mid-January now. And this is the first in a series of what look to be real good storm systems that are going to have a real snowy side to it as well, in addition to a severe weather side. So here we go. I pick it up. Time frame on this. This is Monday morning. We've got a low pressure coming out into Texas. Look at the isobars already developing. It's already a deep low, and it only gets deeper as it heads off towards the north. So here comes. This is a big old low pressure system taking up much of the eastern half of the country. In terms of kind of how it evolves, we need to keep an eye on the track. Okay, it's always about the track. Where the track of a winter storm goes, and what we talk about track is where does the center of the low pressure goes, much like a hurricane, right? If the center of low pressure goes to our west, like back towards Illinois, we're typically we're on the warmer side of it. We typically get rain out of it, right? If that low pressure passes right over us, we can get both sides of things where we can start as snow, go to rain, go back to snow. And if it passes east of us or southeast of us, then we're on the snowy side. And for those of you that have been around long enough and you have been in Northwest Indiana, you understand snowstorms, our sweet spot is a low pressure that goes through basically from Indianapolis to Toledo, Ohio. All right. When a low pressure travels, the center of it goes through Indianapolis to Toledo, Ohio. That puts us just on the western fringe of that, which happens to be where you get the most robust lift in the low pressure. That's where you get the heaviest snow within the low pressure. All right. Yesterday's model runs. And why don't I just show you? Because I can show you yesterday. So let's go back to, I don't know if it's going to show it. It will. It should. Yeah, here you go. This is yesterday's model run. And notice the whole time, this is yesterday, it keeps that low from Indianapolis to Toledo, Ohio. All right. So we get real heavy snow, likely a blizzard, said yesterday's model run, on Tuesday into Wednesday. Just powerhouse winds, real heavy snow, a good duration of it too. I mean, this would be a good 16 to 18 hour event of heavy snow, wind, and just blizzard conditions. All right. That was yesterday. Okay. You didn't see us post on that. And there's a reason for that. I saw a ton of posts on that saying, you know, blizzard, it wasn't for Northwest Indiana, it's for Chicago, but so many people were saying blizzard in Chicago, massive storm next week, click here, you know, it's too early. It's too early on that. So let me give you today's run. And again, this is one we're going to discuss. I don't want to do 18Z. I want to do 12Z here. So here's what today's run is doing. And notice what's changed with this. Low pressure is just a little bit further off towards the west. It's more towards the Champaign area over towards South Bend. All right. So what that does for us is it brings in more rain. All right. The blizzard's gone all of a sudden. Where are all those posts about the blizzard? And then, you know, it heads off towards the north as a massive system. So what we're going to take from today's model, I want to zoom in real quick and kind of analyze if this is the case, if this is true, which it probably isn't at this point. We're still going to see some fluctuations. But if it is, what can we expect? Let's just get a general idea over what we can expect with this system next week. So Monday, it looks like we're fine. All right. We'll have increasing clouds. The wind will start to pick up out of the southeast. That's a given wherever this low goes. Okay. That's going to happen. Monday night into Tuesday, the way the Euro looks right now, we would start as wet snow. It would be pretty windy outside, probably 15 to 25 mile per hour winds with this. Tuesday morning, waking up, we'd have wet snow. Probably it would accumulate initially. And then we would switch over to a mix of gloppy snow and rain. The wind would pick up during the day Tuesday, but it would be more rain than snow as it looks right now. And it would just be kind of nasty and raw outside. The real heavy stuff would be back to the western suburbs of Chicago as of right now. And that will be during the day Tuesday. So the bulk of the storm is going to move in Tuesday. Confidence in that is high. All right. Tuesday's going to be the day. All right. But it just matters where that low goes depending on what kind of weather we're going to get next Tuesday. Okay. And one thing's for sure throughout this, it's going to be windy. This is going to be a massive wind maker. Okay. So Tuesday night, the Euro says we're still rain. Yuck. Like, is there anything worse than like 38 degrees and heavy rain and wind? Like, give me snow. And then as we go into Wednesday, the colder air wraps in. We would change rain over to snow. There's no Arctic cold behind this, so it's not really where everything flash freezes. I don't see that happening. But we would have some snow, probably some brief lake effect. We would get a couple inches out of that. And Wednesday would be kind of the snowier day out of the two, right? A lot of rain and wind on Tuesday. Some snow around here on Wednesday. Manageable. Well, I don't know about with the wind. I think it would be pretty nasty. And then that heads out of here as we go into the daytime Thursday. Okay. I want to show you another one. So I'm going to fast forward. This is the Euro again, where it has the placement of that low. Let's look at the latest GFS. Okay. This is the American model. And you'll notice the American model is a little bit different. All right. Let me see. Get the right run here. There we go. Okay. So the American model has always been a little bit further south and east. All right. Sometimes it can correct north and west. Just so, again, those of you that have tracked winter storms enough, they often correct a little further north and west. So that would bring a rainier scenario in here. Doesn't mean the snow's not going to happen though. I've seen times where it doesn't correct. So there's that. All right. So this is the GFS. This is the latest 18Z. We'll go ahead and show it to you. It starts with that snow on Tuesday. It keeps us mainly snow for much of the day Tuesday. And then it brings that little warm nose in here Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So we would change over to rain. So it would likely just be a lot of slush outside. The wind would be a factor as well. And then waking up Wednesday morning for you snow lovers, the GFS likes snow, and it has that rain changing over to some heavy snow on the backside of that. So Wednesday morning, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we would be changing over to snow. And then notice on the backside, there's no Arctic air. I mean, even the GFS has some rain mixing with the snow after the system goes through. That's not usually how these winter storms go. Normally they pull in some Arctic air. All right. So there's that. And let me compare that to the 12Z earlier. Again, the 12Z tends to be the little bit more accurate one. And you notice how the 18Z is corrected further west, right? So the 12Z earlier today on the GFS still has pretty much a snowstorm for us. The 12Z keeps us all snow, and that has the blizzard for us. So the American model is definitely our snowy model. All right, so what are we to think at this point? Don't think at this point. All right, just know that Tuesday into Wednesday, I'll show you some amounts just because it's fun to look at. But just know Tuesday into Wednesday, we're going to be dealing with a significant storm. As of right now, it's too early to tell whether it's going to be all rain or whether we're snow changing over to rain and then back to snow, or whether we're all snow. We're about 50 miles the difference in terms of where the track of that low goes. And this low pressure is still way off the Pacific coast. So we've still got a lot of time to track it. But for right now, Tuesday and Wednesday next week, I can guarantee we're going to have a big storm system around here. I cannot guarantee what kind of weather we're going to have with it. Okay. And no one can. That's not a skill thing. The kid in his basement that's preaching blizzard and all that stuff, he's got no more skill than the most trained meteorologist in the world, right? No one knows the track of this storm yet. All right. And they can guess, but there's no accuracy to that. So I just want to get that out there. Okay. Briefly, the last thing I want to show you is kind of the storm track after that. So watch what happens. This storm system goes by, right? You think we quiet down for a little while, but we don't. There's another system that comes through the Great Lakes, and then another big one after that would put down a lot of snow somewhere. Then there's another one even after that. So there's just system after system as we go through January. GFS actually looks a little bit calmer. It didn't look like that earlier. Let me show you the Euro, because the Euro had that second storm system as well. But just want you to know it's going to stay pretty active around here. There's the Euro run of that big storm. That goes by. Here's the next system. That's the one I'm talking about right there. That'd be a good storm system there. And then it has another one beyond that. So real active weather. Again, I do think before it's all said and done, I know we haven't had much snow so far this winter. It's been mild. It's behaved very El Nino-ish, as they say. But I do think we're going to start to lay down some snow as we get into the middle and later half of the month. All of the snow looks wet. I don't see any big Arctic outbreaks as of right now. There are signs later this month that perhaps we tap into some Arctic air, but it's just really hard during an El Nino winter, because El Nino winter tends to bring a stronger subtropical jet in the United States. That's the one that pumps the moisture and the humidity around. So as a result, we tend to get we can get a lot more moisture with storm systems, but it tends to bring Gulf of Mexico moisture and warmer air northward. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of these storm systems. The Arctic has been cut off essentially, and we're dealing with just lots of moisture around, and that's kind of what we're getting into. Okay. Um, Steve, I just saw your comment. That's funny. Um, he says the kid in his basement keeps posting about storm of the century. I know who you're talking about. Good. I'm glad you know that. So that's that. And Jennifer brings up a good point, and I've been preaching this on the TV side of things. It's winter, it snows, right? And people need to realize that. And I hope you don't hear the message from me that this is a huge blockbuster event. It's going to be a big storm next week, right? So we need to track it. We need to make sure that we can plan ahead for it. But it's not something that's out of the ordinary for this time of year, right? We tend to get big storms in January and February. So there's that. All right. So I'm going to show you a couple mounts. If you guys have any weather questions or anything like that, the only other question I don't want to answer is, what's going to happen in my town or my county, because I told you, we just don't know yet, right? It depends on the track of that. But time frame, we do know. Again, this weekend snow isn't going to be a big deal. We could get cosmetic coating, maybe a couple inches out of it. Roads should stay mainly fine this weekend. I don't think the snow is going to be consistent enough for long enough. Plus, our temperature is going to be elevated. And then next week, Tuesday, Wednesday is the time frame to watch. Okay. So again, we can't do amounts at all. All right. I can't tell you how much snow is going to fall from this system next week, but we can look at it. And that's what's fun, is kind of looking at what the models are saying. So I'm just going to show you numbers. These are not forecasts. And you're going to take these numbers and like Men in Black, the movie, where I'm going to wave a wand and you're going to forget them. Okay. Pretend you didn't see anything. But let's look at them, because it's fun to do that. And I haven't looked at these today with the 12Z run. So here you go. So here's the weekend storm. The Euro saying, half an inch to an inch, maybe, which again, I tend to agree with the Euro. So maybe I said a couple inches, maybe we'll go a little less on that this weekend. Again, weekend's not a big deal. Here's your Tuesday, Wednesday with the Euro. It's got good 10-inch totals in Illinois. That's where that sweet spot is right now. It's got a general 2 to 4 for us, and that would be on the back side of the system. I could see that. With the wind coming in and just wet snow piling up. All right. And then the Euro in the extended, it's got a little bit more. I mean, it's got some 30 to 40-inch totals coming out of areas of Iowa. So there's that. But again, this is the one that we are concerned with, which is Tuesday into Wednesday. So Euro 2 to 4 on us, right? And that could change, though. Again, that could shift. The GFS was more bullish with the snow. This is the 18Z. I mean, it's got us pretty much in the sweet spot of the storm system, and it's got anywhere from 6 to 9 inches across our region, a foot or so across central Illinois. Let's look at the 12Z. This will be much higher, because remember, that had us in snow the entire time. So there's the 12Z. That's from earlier today. That's the run earlier today, the American model, the GFS. That has anywhere from 3 inches in Whiting, up to a foot in Valparaiso. So in Newton and Jasper County, it's got about 13 inches. So that's the variability on this, right? We just don't know, and it's going to continue to change. And last thing I want to check here before I answer your questions is my best friend, the GEM, the Canadian model. Let's just look at that, because that's fun. Canadian model is a party pooper. So 1 to 3 inches and not a big storm system. It has a lot of rain from this. So there's that. Final thing I want to look at real quick is the GFS long range, just because it's going to be fun to look at. There you go. So this is what the GFS is saying in terms of snowfall from now until Saturday, January 20th. That's not too long from now. It has a good 20 to 27 inches across the region. So there you go. I do think we turn snowier. I don't know about this snowy, but we'll see what happens from there. Okay. All right, we'll answer your questions, and I'm going to bed. Let's see. Shana says, hoping for snow. Really want to take kids out already and play in the snow. You're absolutely welcome for the update for sure. Maxwell says, I wonder if the models are overdoing the cold for late next week, especially we don't have a lot of snow cover. Maxwell, that's a really good point. Absolutely. So the models this time of year tend to think, or they tend to put into their algorithm, the fact that we should have snow cover by now, right? And so they tend to have that in the forecasting models. So they can overdo cold, because remember, to get real bitter cold down this far south, which is typical, right, in January, but you typically need snowpack to bring that cold down, because as soon as cold air from Canada or the Arctic hits normal ground that heats up, right, bare ground, no snow on the ground, it tends to modify that air mass. And we don't have a lot of snow cover in the lower 48 right now. It's very low, especially compared to recent years at this time. So Maxwell, it's a good question for sure. And we'll see. We've kind of seen that with the last couple systems where we've had, it looks like snow, and then the snow line keeps getting pushed north and west, which we'll see what happens with this. Sean, we can look ahead to January 20th. That's about as far as models go. The accuracy obviously goes down. We've got a pretty good idea what's going to happen in the next 7 to 10 days. I mean, meteorology has come that far where 7 to 10 days, we can accurately tell you what the pattern's going to do. I mean, we're picking up on this storm system already. It's not till Tuesday, Wednesday, but we're picking up on almost exactly where that low is going to go. It won't vary much further than that. So we've come a long way in meteorology. I know a lot of people still make fun of it, but there's that. We've gotten better. Yeah, Linda, absolutely. Mother Nature making up for all the time she wasted. Yeah, we knew we were going to pay for it for sure. And Russ, yeah, we gave some numbers. It's too early to tell how much, but the potential's there where this could be a 6 to 12 incher wherever that heaviest snow goes for sure. Jeff says my daughter's traveling from Bourbonnais to Cherville on Saturday. How would travel be? Jeff, there'll be some snow around, but I don't think it'll be that impactful. Road temperature should be above freezing. So as long as we don't have any, heavier bursts, which some of the model, the HRRR that we showed earlier is kind of showing moderate snow at times. But I don't think Saturday is going to be too big a deal. We will have snow around. There'll be snow falling from time to time. But road temperature should be enough. As long as it's treated, she should be fine. Okay. Yeah, Caitlin, lots of students returning to school next Tuesday. More snow days. We'll see. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? I know a lot of parents are ready to get the kids out of the house. So there's that. Let's see. January could be, yeah, Maxwell. Since we're in an El Nino year, January could be our last month of snow. You never know. I would hedge a bet on some more snowstorms in February. We can get some real decent storms with El Ninos even. Erica asks, Russ, thank you, says us plow guys trust you. I appreciate that. You should never trust a weatherman. But Erica says, at what point will we be able to more accurately predict and track Tuesday storms, Saturday, Sunday? Yeah, both of those, Erica. The closer we get to it, the more accurate it's going to be. I've seen it change from this point out. I think we're a little too soon to kind of lock something in. Saturday, we should have a good idea. Sunday, we'll have a better idea, and we'll have you covered. We'll be doing broadcasts, keeping you guys updated here over the next couple of days. Jessica and Ricky says, snow day, snow day. I don't know if you guys have traditions on snow days, but I've heard a couple things that work. I mean, 100% of the time, if you flush ice cubes down the toilet, that's one of them. I've heard the spoon under the pillow works every single time. And then if you put your pajamas on inside out, that also works. So if you guys are hoping for a snow day and your teachers, all that stuff works every time. So if you haven't been doing that, that's why you haven't had a snow day. Maxwell, you're welcome. Honest updates. That's what we give you for sure. Let's see. Sean says, is the snow trend going till February? I have a trip to Wisconsin on the 2nd. Sean, as of now, I can't tell that far. There are signs that I'm seeing in the modeling, the long-term modeling, that we could bring in some Arctic air by the end of the month. So we're starting to play with that. So if we do that end of the month, hypothetically speaking, we would probably have a pattern change in early February, and that would probably warm us up. Again, that's just given, let's say we stay a week and a half in a certain pattern. We'll see. So we'll see. Andrew, good point. Regrettably, the invention of the iPad seems to be the demise of snow days. I know. They do e-learning days. That's awful. Ugh, give the kids a day off to play in the snow. Yeah, that's true, Diane. I see your comment there for sure. And Jessica, Ricky, yeah, I get it. Yeah, so you're all about that. Totally fine. All right, guys. Well, I hope that helps. Again, I appreciate you spending your time with me tonight, going through the models. That's what we'll do over the course of the next couple of days. We'll continue to keep you updated on the modeling. If there's anything breaking that I see or a pattern where something gets locked in terms of the track and what we're expecting, I'll certainly share that with you. But as of right now, don't worry about, how much snow or if we just get rain out of it. Don't worry about that stuff. Just know Tuesday, Wednesday next week we're going to have some kind of impactful weather. There's going to be a lot of wind with it. That's a guarantee. All right. That there's going to be a lot of wind those 2 days. But in terms of track of that low, we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Okay. We'll pass along the latest. All right. Have a wonderful night. You're welcome, everybody. I see the thank yous. I'm not just saying that. The people are saying thank you. So there's that. All right.